So our next speaker is Dr. K Saxena. He will be talking about role of public key in securing cyberspace. Dr. K Saxena has been an outstanding scientist and director of one of the premium laboratories of DRDO, Scientific Analysis Group located in Delhi. Presently, he is engaged with Office of Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India as PSA Fellow. Dr. Saxena did his MSc from Kanpur University in 1971 and PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur in 1978. He joined Scientific Analysis Group DRDO in 1981 as Scientist C and became Scientist G in 2002. He was appointed as Director of SAG with effective from May 2003 and headed the lab till his superannuation in July 2014. Dr. Saxena became outstanding scientist in 2009. His area of interest include algebra, cryptology, fuzzy logic, artificial neural networks, information cybersecurity, and speech technology. He has published 65 research papers in national, international journals and conference proceedings. Dr. Saxena participated in around 150 conferences, workshops, seminars, delivering keynote speeches, and invited talks and organized many such events, including international conferences such as IndoCrypt several times. After joining Office of PSA, Dr. Saxena has been involved in activities pertaining to cybersecurity, machine learning for machine translation for Indian languages, and quantum computing. He is Chairman Advisory Board and member of Governing Council for Society for Electronic Transaction and Security SETS, an organization working in Chennai under Office of PSA. Over to you, sir.
First, transparency. First transparency. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so let me thank first of all the organizers, CDEC and Mighty CCA, for giving me this opportunity for talking on use of public key in securing the cyberspace. What I would actually do is that I will talk about the cyberspace and what are the concerns in the security pertaining to cyberspace, and then what technologies we can use for securing our cyberspace. Not the total challenges or the threats we are going to address here, but limited to primarily three things: authentication, key exchange, and encryption. So before starting those concerns and all, let me see that what our cyberspace is. So cyberspace is like it is like physical world. It is populated with people, systems, gadgets, grouped as communities and colonies, clouds. But here, all information flows in bits and bytes. And in cyberspace, also, we have similar threats as we have in our physical world. So we will see some further the threats and other issues involved in securing cyberspace. The increasing use of digital devices and digital communication, digital information exchange is actually posing more and more threats to the information in the cyberspace. Because whenever some solution is designed, it is the usability and the user friendliness that comes first, and security comes, of course. For some devices, security also is paramount important, but all the things cannot be visualized in the beginning. So that's why patches and all those things come later. So the increase in the information exchange digital domain has increased the threats as well as the need for providing newer solutions. As we all know that lens, webcams, graphics, clouds, they are ever increasing in size, and there are millions of IoT devices which we use daily. Some of them we may not be concerned about security, but most of them we are concerned about their security. And we also see that digitization is happening in almost all sectors. We are using daily this Facebook messaging, WhatsApp, Twitter, and all. These are all applications where our privacy is involved, where our communication is involved. So, whether the proof of identity, identity theft, all those are the concerns. There are some other services which we use, we all know. So, what are the actually the threats, main threats when we want to exchange information between
Sorry
entity?
to interrupt, sir. Sir, can you just remove the second slide, next slide? Hello. Hello. Sir, can you hear me? Sir,
The information.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you just remove the second slide? It is reflect. Two slides are reflecting. Just make it a full screen, one slide, sir.
This one?
Give me a just the presenting slide should be in a full mode. Next slide should be removed. Two slides we have visible here.
Oh, this one.
Hi, sir.
This,
Can you just
oh, okay. This is also coming on your screen.
yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Let us see. इसको full screen करना है, इसको remove करना
Yeah, not no, just full screen. Make it full screen. Still two screens are visible.
है. Do we close this one?
Ah, perfect.
You are getting only single one? Yes. Now, okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was talking about main threats when we exchange information between two entities A and B. The first threat is that the intruder or eavesdropper disrupt the communication. So that is what we call as denial of service. The second threat is that somebody overhears, listens in between without the knowledge of A and B. So the second figure shows that he is actually eavesdropping and listening the communication between A and B. The third threat is that he is not only passively listening, but it is actually interrupting and changing the contents and communicating it to B. So that is modification, or we call it as integrity of the information is destroyed. And the other threat is that somebody actually poses as A and communicates it to B. B assumes that the communication is coming from A. So these are the broadly main threats when we exchange the information. So what actually we want to achieve? So we want to protect the contents from unauthorized access. That's the primary concern. But before that, we have to authenticate the communicating parties. So A and B, they should make sure that they are the right persons intended for the communication. So that is authentication of the persons, or when the two systems are exchanging information, some authentication has to happen between those two entities. And there has to be some protection against modification and fabrication, so that whatever contents are there, they are received intact without any change. Safeguard against imposters, non-repudiation, that is, somebody cannot deny later on that whether the information was sent from him or not. Ensuring the integrity of information exchange for trust and reliability, assuring service is available, and acknowledging receipt of information. So these are the broadly goals which we want to achieve while trying to secure the cyberspace. I will not talk about much about general aspects of securing uh, cyberspace, because network security systems, intrusion prevention systems, intrusion detection systems, secure routers, secure switches, all those gadgets which take part in actually exchange of information in a network, their security comes in a different form while designing and all. But primarily, we have to have the technologies which can help us in providing comprehensive security. So we talk about securing cyberspace in a layered manner. Different layers have to be secured in a different manner with the different crypto algorithms, different protocols, and even at the coding level, some secure coding is required. So many things are required when we want to have a comprehensive security. So cryptography plays a central role in all these things when we want to exchange information in a cyberspace. Important out of all those issues are integrity of the information which is being exchanged, confidentiality of the information, and for confidentiality, we have to use some encryption. So, what is the key? How to the generate? How to generate the key which will be used in the encryption? How to share the keys? Whether it is to be transported from one person to other person, or it is to be exchanged by sharing some secrets between two parties A and B, authenticating, establishing identity of entities who are exchanging information, and the all these things are to be managed by protocols which will actually manage the information exchange, meeting security goals. So our talk will be around all these points which are here in this transparency. So if we talk about the technologies which are available and which can be used for securing cyberspace, basically hash functions, encryption systems, steganography, transmission security, crypto protocols. These are the technologies which provide us the tools to achieve authentication, key exchange, and all those primitives and other things which we were talking about the previous transparency. And as I've told that apart from this cryptography, the network designing and all those things we are not going to cover here. So, for authentication and key exchange, we will see in subsequent slides that mainly hash functions and symmetric key encryption and asymmetric key encryptions are used. And there are n number of protocols which have been designed where mix of all these are actually used. But public key cryptography primarily is used for authentication and key exchange. But in some of the protocols, public key cryptography can also be used for establishing a session key, and that session key can be used for encryption also. So, it may be broadly used for authentication key exchange, but it is also used for encryption purposes when certified public keys are available. Then these can be the private key and public keys can be used for encryption. So just glimpses of what is public key cryptography. So in public key cryptography, in contrast of the symmetric key, here we have two keys. One is private key and one is public key. And these two keys are in fact used for authentication or for encryption. So uh, private key is used like here this if A want to communicate a message, send a message M to B, it will encrypt the message by the private key of B and send it. And private, the B will use its public key public key of U will be used for encryption, and private key, because B has private key, so he will use the private key to decrypt the message. So two messages are used. The public key infrastructure also requires digital signatures, which are given in this, just concept is given in this slide. So any message M, first of all, it is hash function is used to get a digest or the hash value, and then public key is used to get verification, and private key used for signing. So signature is actually not necessarily be on the message, but the hash of uh, the message, which is a fixed length string of ones and zeros, and that becomes the signature. And for verification, the hash function, the digest and signature, two things are available. So on digest hash function, message M will be actually hashed and digest will be meshed. And the check value for this signature, this public key will be used, and then signature will be verified. So if we talk about the public key infrastructure, it actually includes much more than just the public key crypto systems and digital signatures. It includes all technologies, products which can help in storing, managing keys, and the digital certificates which are to be issued by third party, operational technologies such as networks, communications, firewalls, security policies to define the rules under which cryptographic systems could operate, and procedures to dictate how the keys and certificates are generated and distributed and used. So all these become part of public key infrastructure, but most important part is revocation of keys compromised. Because when the users are many, then there are chances of compromisation of public key of individuals, and then the corresponding private key is also compromised. So in that case, the responsibility of certifying authority CA and CCA becomes that to prepare a revocation list and issue a new public key pair key which has not been used in the past. So this I think this over a period of time, when the size increases, this becomes a big responsibility uh, for the third party. And so we will see that these public key systems, they meet all these requirements for e-security, like confidentiality, integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, and some of the protocols which I will describe in subsequent slides. So before that, let me tell that this public key crypto systems actually was originated with the concept of Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol, and initially non-secret encryption was proposed. But later on, this concept, many other primitives like multiplication, factorization, and discrete log problems, and all those things were researched upon, and many public key crypto systems have been proposed, and they are in use. And as the previous speaker was also talking about post-quantum public key crypto systems, so the work is going on, and some code-based and lattice-based crypto systems, multivariate polynomial-based crypto systems are being studied, and the standards are being worked upon by the NIST. As I told that this Diffie-Hellman key exchange was the beginning of public key crypto systems. So here actually the main issue in using symmetric key was that the encryption key was required to be shared between the users beforehand. So Diffie-Hellman thought that why not can we do it in the session itself rather than generating the key beforehand and sharing through some secret channel. So here the this exchange protocol actually tells us that A and B, they actually uh, uh, involved, both of them are involved in the process, and finally the key is established, which is alpha power by x. Here x is secret with A, y is secret with B, and they communicate some value alpha power x, with whether alpha is a generator in some uh, field ZP star. So here actually the intruder will actually get alpha power x and alpha power y, but he will not be getting the key alpha power x power y. So that was the secrecy here, and that's how the session key between A and B was established. But it has its own problem. There was a man in the middle attack was possible. So some modifications in protocol has also happened. There was some in the beginning non-secret encryption was proposed based on the factorization difficulty of the factorization of large integers. Here I have just described where no third party is involved. Only the user himself can drive its private key. So the public key actually becomes the number n, which is product of p and q, and the user finds out some numbers R, S, and UB, which is satisfying some mathematical problems, mathematical equations, and finally the encryption and decryption can be done in a easy fashion. So encryption is simple, that this message m raised to power n, and decryption uses those values u, b, and v, a, which were actually calculated by the user. So these are in the beginning some concept was established by such thing, but main breakthrough in public key crypto system came by through this RSA crypto system, which is the based on the difficulty of factorization of two large integers. I will not describe this, but here this encryption and decryption keys are actually derived through this mathematical function equation, and encryption and decryption actually requires the computation of m power raised to the power that key. So this algorithm is widely used in public key infrastructure these days. So now coming to the use of this public key crypto systems in authentication and key exchange. Let's see that what is actually authentication. So authentication is actually the proof of genuineness of the person, and here the requirement may be that in some cases between two parties, only A needs to authenticate to B, like in our communication with banks. The individual has to authenticate himself to the bank. In some cases, we may require B needs to be authenticated by to A, and in some cases, mutual authentication is required. So it will depend upon different requirements, and accordingly the protocols will be designed. And this authentication actually, this public key crypto system will be actually useful in providing all these solutions to the problem, to address these issues. So while designing protocols for authentication, session generation, the main consideration are two. The first thing is that the secret key is already available, and secure channel is available for where this key is already created, or it is available with A or B. So the principles here, that means the two parties, they already have a secret key. But then while communication, they require some kind of a session key, where they may use this secret key. This may not be available a priori to both of the parties, may be available with one, may be available two. So that is the one situation. The second situation is that certified public keys are available by third party. Some signatures, digital signatures, and some certificates have been issued, and they are available with principals. So the designer of the protocol will have that consideration. And the third possibility may be that this is to be done by the third party online, not beforehand. Digital signatures are available. The method of generation of key may be that out of A and B, there may be transportation protocol. This, which means that key is available with one, and this is actually sent to the other end. And when we talk about key agreement protocol, that means here the session key will be derived by both parties A and B participating in actually generation of the key. So that we call as a key agreement protocol. So transportation is one side, agreement is both parties taking together, and in some of the requirements maybe that multi-party requirements, or in a network or in a group, there may be requirement of hybrid protocol where some keys are to be transported, some keys are to be actually generated, and key agreement may have to happen between certain parties. So these are all considerations which one has to have before deciding about designing protocol. So authentication and key established protocol, this is summarized that the designer will have to consider these aspects, whether he has to design a protocol based on symmetric key cryptography, or using cryptographic hash function, or using only public key cryptography, or combination of all, and the whether the symmetric key is already generated, or symmetric key, the session key is to be generated and shared while during the protocol itself. So the it will also depend upon the requirement, also depend upon whether the communication is between two parties, or it is a network, or it is a mobile station to base station, or it is mobile to mobile. Because when we come to mobile station and mobile to mobile, the computational cost, etc., comes into the picture. So the public key crypto systems are to be selected or chosen in a particular fashion to reduce the cost of computation. So just to give some glimpses of what actually authentication protocols look like. So here it is a simple protocol where A just sends its identity A to B, and B asked him to prove it, and A sends his password, Louis, like simple password for authentication. But here the intruder C can get access of this password, so it's not secure. So the next improvement was that instead of sharing sending the password, it will actually send the hash value of the password. That's what is happening actually in bank transactions. The PIN or password which we enter, that is not stored in plain. A hash value is stored there. But again, here a replay attack is possible that C actually captures the hash and uses that can use to communicate to B. So instead of that, there are some challenge response kind of a thing. Like in banks, we now see that some captcha will be sent or OTP will be sent. So it is similar to that. Here we actually send some nuance, and that nuance is that only A can respond. So that this authentication can happen. Here. Uh, this replay attack is actually not applicable here because only A can respond to that nuance. Further modifications in this that apart from response to nuance, that password of A and nuance is also shared. So here the exchange of information between A and B over the channel takes place, but replay attack cannot be mounted. But it is not a mutual authentication which happens here. So there are again hash value of that can be sent. So apart from just using hash, the encryption can be used. As I'm talking about that symmetric key, encryption can be used for authentication purposes. So here this KAB actually is the key, symmetric key, which is available shared between A and B beforehand. So what A does is A sends its identity and B sends some random number R to A, and A actually encrypts this R which was sent by B using this key KAB. So this is encrypted message which is going to B, and since B has that symmetric key, so we will decrypt the message. We will decrypt the message and match whether this R is matching with R, and this can happen. This helps B to identify that it's actually coming from A. But it lacks in mutual authentication, and replay attack is also possible. So instead of just encrypting once, here in this protocol, we also encrypts, instead of sending just R, we actually encrypts R with this key, KAB, and sends the encrypted message to A. A decrypts this message and then encrypts again and then sends it to B. So here proves nothing of the sender, whether be it A or B. So this protocol doesn't work well. So some modifications were suggested where random number as well as encryption, as was in the previous thing. So two random numbers RA, which was sent by A, and random number RB, which is generated by B. These are used here. So some encryption happens with this RA, and RB goes in plain. A actually uses a symmetric key, decrypts it, and gets RA. RA matches with the RA which he has sent, and then he actually encrypts RB. So and send it to B, and B can decrypt and see that it is the same RV which it had sent. So this actually is the way to authenticate. A authenticates B and B authenticates A. But again, here man in the middle attack is possible. There are some other variations in this. I will skip this and come to public key, use of public key in authentication. So here, as we can see, that simplest protocol is that A sends the identity A to B sends some information R to A, and R signs it this message by using its private key and sends it to B, and B decrypts it using the public key of A, and it matches R because R was actually available with B. And after decryption, if he gets the same R, that means he authenticates that it is actually A. But here the intruder can actually pose a attack, and he can uh, sign the message, and we will use the corresponding thing. So here the it's not safe protocol. So instead of that signature in this revised version, B doesn't send the R in plain, but actually it encrypts the message R by using public key of A. So this symbol actually means the encryption by public key, and A will decrypt it using the private key and then send the decrypted R to B, and R will match it with it. So again, that intruder can pose it B. So here in these two protocols, use of public key or private key has been depicted for authentication purposes, but it's not serving the security purposes. So the protocol was further modified where the R1, some number R is actually sent by A, and B actually generates some information K, and R and K together are encrypted by the public key of A and sent to A. Decrypts it by its private key and communicates R plus 1 and K by signing to B. And we can actually verify this R plus and K, the information sent to A. So here two purposes are served. That the K, the information K, which can be the session key, it has been shared between A and B because K is available with B as well as A, and the authentication has also happened because it was encrypted by A, but mutual authentication has not happened here. So signing as well as that's the best practice, where signing as well as encryption, both the parts of public key are used. So this actually provides mutual authentication. Uh, this provides mutual authentication because here public keys and private keys of both A and B are used in this protocol. So that's the that means signing as well as encryption through this public key. So many such protocols have been proposed in the literature. I have given some list of this 4 5 which are using shared symmetric key. There are some serverless key establishment protocols which can be seen in the literature. That is, this is actually done without online server, but there are some server-based key establishment using symmetric key crypto system. This one is very prominent and important, Needham Schroeder protocol, which is described here briefly. So here there is a server S in between A and B. A and B actually want to share the key. In this protocol, A is communicating to S, sending identity A, B, and some nuance NA. And yes, the server sends this information B, identity of B, this NA, and this key, symmetric key, which is actually to be shared with or transported to B. And this encryption, symmetric key encryption of this information using symmetric key between B and S. So server is actually having a symmetric key, shared symmetric key between A and S and B also. So that is actually being used. And then this total is encrypted by AS because this is communication goes to A. Now A decrypts it, and then this information he sends to B. This intact information, that is encrypted information, is sent to B. And so B, since this key is available with B, shared with S, so B can decrypt it, and identity of A can be verified, and KAB reaches B. So in this first three passes, this key KAB, which is to be shared between A and B, that is transported from A and B. And in two passes, B to A and A to B, by encrypting the random number or nuance, the mutual authentication happens. So this is very widely described and used protocol, but there are many other protocols which are is in the literature which are available. What are the advantages in exchange of information using public key crypto system over to the symmetric key? As we see that the protocols can be based on both, but the advantage with this public key use of public key is that here it allows straightforward digital signature concept is available, and one can use digital signatures for the in the protocol. And here this key management is simple. Here the symmetric key is to be created and shared beforehand, and all those things are required. But here this requirement is not there. And their public key based crypto system are more suited to distributed communication and internet. But the disadvantage is the cost, because here the computational cost in public key crypto system, whether it is PKI, the RSA or LGML or discrete log, that cost factor is there. So, the crypto primitive can be used in a manner where this crypto cost can be slightly reduced for achieving some desired level of secrecy. So, in the previous presentation, the speaker was talking about TLS, LSSL, and all protocols. Just briefly, it is described here, this TLS protocol, but it uses not the RSA crypto system or the encryption raising power to some number by big numbers and all. It actually uses the concept of squaring and square roots. So that concept will be actually used here. And there is a concept of pre-master key, which is available to one of the users, and this is to be transported from client A to client B. In fact, if we will look at the secrecy in WhatsApp, which is end-to-end secrecy, there also this concept of pre-mastered key is used. So this pre-master key is used for calculating the digital hash or MAC value or digest value, which actually gives the key, session key KAB. So here it's very simple that A and B, they share their random numbers or nuances NA and B, and this PMK is transported from A to B. So this is available to both A and B, and then shared key is calculated by calculating this hash value, keyed hash value. PMK is the key of these two information NA and B. So in this NAB, they shared this key, and this is widely used in our internet. In mobile communication environment, the requirement is, for example, that communication protocol between mobile station and base station. So here, one of the requirement is that the mobile station may not be that equipped to bear that cost of computation. So the protocol should address that issue, that computation in mobile stations should be load of computation should be less as compared to base station. Base station is some broader facility. So this protocol was, which is known as Weller Cheng Jacobi protocol, MSR. This addressed that issue, and it used PKC due by Rabin, where encryption is modulo squaring and decryption is modulo square rooting. So instead of standard RSA crypto system or LGML or elliptic curve crypto system, where computational cost of raising to the power or district that is involved in finite fields and the numbers, big, large numbers, that would have needed more computational power. So that has been reduced here, and this simple two-line protocol addresses that issue, so that the A and B, they can share that key and communicate between them. So A is actually our base station, and B is mobile station. So if we look at B is actually encrypting this secret key KAB by raising squaring. So here the squaring operation is involved, and here this is symmetric key encryption by this KAB. Whereas at B, the actual square rooting will be involved. So this is simple protocol which can be used from for communicating between the mobile station and this base station. Just at the end, let me talk about the end-to-end secrecy protocol, which is used in WhatsApp, in Skype, and in other things also. Secrecy in some form of the other is available, but as it is existing, that WhatsApp provides end-to-end secrecy. That means the actual encryption and decryption happens on our mobile phones, and on the channel everything goes on in the encrypted form. So, since the mobile to mobile communication goes through so many intermediate things, routers, switches, base stations, MSAs, clouds, and all. So, it was very difficult to evolve this protocol. The details of all these may be very difficult to cover in this point of time, but it uses a signal protocol and open whisper developed by open whisper system. So WhatsApp has its own signal messaging application, proprietary, and double ratchet algorithm is used. Some concept of pre-key used, PMK, as I was talking in the last. They also use triple Diffie-Hellman for key exchange. They also use elliptic curve, specific elliptic curve number 255119. For encryption, actually, the AES encryption 256 is used. For hashing, HMAC SHA-256 used. So many crypto primitives are used in this protocol. So it's a complicated protocol, looks like, but it has been so designed that the computation cost is not so much, and the user doesn't feel anything happening while delay of computation and all. So this pre-key and curve 25619 Diffie-Hellman key exchange. So when we actually you download the application and register on this, many things are calculated beforehand, and these keys are shared. So server stores these keys which are generated here. Elliptic curve used as a part of DP-Hellman key exchange protocol, and extended triple D Diffie-Hellman key exchange, and these two ratchets used. So this concept of ratchet is it is device moving in one direction, deriving new keys from current ones. So here the issue of initializing vectors and all those things are addressed within the system itself. So each one of these, which is highlighted here, it requires a lot of descriptions, but the protocol is very efficient, and as on date, there is no breach which has been reported. So I think at the end, I would say that this public key cryptography can be used for designing security protocols, not only for authentication between the communication entities, authentication in the communication in the group, and then establishing and sharing the session key in this. In one of the, there are many other protocols where this session key is also generated using public key itself. So there, in that protocol, two public key crypto systems are used. One is long-term public key crypto system like RSA, and there is some short-term public key crypto system which is available for short-term and which is used for generating the session key within that session and sharing. So, as we see, we have seen in many of uh, the protocols which I described here. Some of them I described here. Uh, the basic concept was that one symmetric key, crypto symmetric key, like KAB, which is available beforehand, and that is used in between, but the session key is generated in the protocol for actual encryption during that session. So here there are many protocols where that requirement of symmetric key is not there. Everything can be done by public key crypto system itself in the protocol. So with this, I stop here, and some of the references are here, but I would recommend somebody who is interested in more details of these protocols which are using exclusively public key cryptography and public key infrastructure. This book by Colin Boyd and Anis Mathuria, this is a very good book. It's exclusively, it talks about the different protocols there, and the attacks and then modifications, comparing all the different types of protocols, comparing among themselves, comparing among the other category also. It's so somebody may refer that book for more details. So with this, I end up my talk. If there are any questions, I can take up.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Uh, there are no more questions, I think, and thank you. Thank you, sir.
Giving this opportunity. If later on some questions comes, they can be sent to communicate with me on mail if anything is required. So thank you.
So now it's lunch time, and we are a bit delayed, but no problem. So apart from CDAC and CCA members, everybody is requested to move to E Square Hall. It is in the basement, in the lift, B button. So go to the ballroom, and lunch is served there as well as exhibition is there. So please enjoy lunch and come back by 2:15. So from 2:15, our next speaker is there, Dr. Viswas Patil. He's a security analyst with BNP Paribas Singapore. He'll be talking about the evolving role of PKI in facilitating trust over the internet. So please come back by 2:15. Thank you.